Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds, and hanging out with the nerdettes tonight, and we were playing some 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. So, at last we left off. Who's got it this week?
I got it. So, after defeating the hags in the Feywild, we were getting ready for a party thrown by our host, Asindro. He gave us magical pins in the shape of gray leaves to protect us, literally and figuratively. Deneen and Kath totally ditched poor Kenna, who's still trying to sort out her newly returned memories. They went to Gazinth's tailor shop. Meanwhile, Kenna bought a pipe that looks like the face of Treebeard in ivory, but it's really wood. And she also got something fun to smoke in it. Then Kenna went to the park to hang out with a satyr bard named Finnelis. He explained that the barriers are softening between other planes and our own, named Ulfganya. She invites Finnelis as her date to the party, and Finnelis's hangers-on are jealous. Deneen went to a temple of the Eladrin equivalent of her god Eleven, named Corellin. She prayed for guidance regarding this hereditary winter fae curse on her husband and daughter. And she saw a vision of a frost glittering tree inset with the face of a woman, beautiful with feral fang. Meanwhile, Kath added copper coins to fountains as tribute to the Beggar King. The Eladrin were watching her curiously. But back with Gazinth in the tailor shop, he makes Arun even more fancy, and it's on the house. He might have been flirting with Arun? Thanks to this treatment, now Arun gets to keep all his baubles and jewelry when he disappears and reappears. And finally, at the party, everything is gorgeous, but Finnelis warns us about time passing on our home plane. It could be years for all we know. So Deneen went to talk to Asindro and forewarn him that we need to leave. She also asked about the tree from her vision, and he's shaken up by this. Asindro says he'll send us home with 2 letters, one for Karshapathium and another for Deneen about this tree. And that's it.
So, with that, if you guys just want to introduce yourselves and your characters, and we'll just go with the order you guys had joined the game. Megan, Jen, Kath, or
Hello,
Jean.
I am Megan R. Miller. I will be playing Kenna Hallwaythorn, Halfling Bard of Valor.
And she's an amazing author, and you need to look at her books.
Sorry.
And I'm Jen from PixelScapes.com. I'm playing Deneen, a Wood Elf Rogue Cleric.
And I'm Jean. I'm playing Kath, the tiefling paladin.
So, I believe when we last left off, you guys were closing in on the portal home when tears began to form in the air around you, and these giant, basically they look like giant hermit crabs, came lumbering out of them. Except for their shells, kind of have that opalescent kind of prismatic coloring to it. So they kind of look like white, but like mother of pearl, where you see all these different colors like flashing. So they look like they could easily be quite at home in like a disco. And they're making this chittering noise, and you hear the snap of giant claws as they advance menacingly through towards you guys. You can roll initiative, and then you can also tell me what exactly it is you'd like to try and do. I heard a 17.
Yes, I've got an 18.
Kath is 9.
So, all right, sorry. I appear to misplace the chat temporarily. don't ask me how I did that. I now have more windows open than usual. All right, so they are going to go at an 18.
How many of these things are are there?
There are 3.
There are 3, and they're big.
They are big. They're the size of small, basically like I would say they're about the size of a wagon, a large wagon, or perhaps a small house. They look like enormous hermit crabs.
Oh, good miniature hermit Bardo.
That's it looks difficult to deal with.
So what is the party's intent?
I think I'm gonna blink.
I want to bless you before you go away.
Okay.
And
I will wait.
and Finnelis begins playing his panpipes.
That's right. We need accompaniment.
Good. Rock on, man.
Of course, who couldn't do with some good accompaniment? Oh, there you go. I found the errant chat box.
Speaking of chat is saying that Dave, you're coming through loud and clear, but we're sounding quiet for some reason. I have no idea how to fix that or address that, but I thought I'd mention it.
Testing. This is Jen.
All right, let me see if we can't get the volume up on you guys. And
Wonder what would be different.
it could be one of these settings here. So they'll have to let us know. I just made an adjustment, and you guys can let us know how that sounds. When you guys
talking.
So as Finnelis begins to play, you guys kind of feel a familiar feeling wash over you, as if you were blessed. You guys have felt it many times from Deneen.
Are we double blessed?
He actually got his off first, so you actually.
Well, then I'm not blessing anybody.
Then you don't actually have to worry about that.
Yep. Excellent.
So I believe we had a tie, 18. Was that you, Jen, or was that you?
No, that was me.
All right.
And the bad guys.
So what does Kenna wish to do?
Yeah, I'm blinking. And I got a 17 on that, so I'm in the ethereal plane.
Okay. So there might be problems, but they're not your problems.
Yet.
Yet. Well, there are 3 of you and that are there, and 3 of them. So they come lumbering forward, one at each of you. And I guess we will start with probably the slowest moving, and we'll go right at Kath first.
Poor Kath.
Oh, and they are actually some good rolls. Nice. So, pinching claws and clacking mandibles come in, with 20 being the lowest.
Whew, that hits.
All right. Even with your new armor class?
Let's see. Roll 20 did something funky to my sheet. So I am a 17.
Okay, yeah.
Does that include your +1 from a syndrome?
Yes.
Yeah, but it still would be. Ooh.
Her little stove plates that she wears for armor is just the equivalent of chainmail.
We need to get you upgraded, girl.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So that will be 35 points of damage as this thing just tears into you. Claw and fang. Claw and mandible, I should say. And also, I believe all of you guys but Megan are going to have to give me a saving throw.
Oh no.
Well, not yet. I guess on your turn, you're going to have to give me a saving throw.
Well, I'm gonna hellish rebuke this thing.
Okay.
for... So it has to make a DC 17 Dex save.
Nice, natural 20. So your Hellish Rebuke goes off, and the fire dances across the shell, kind of like ducks in a little bit, so it'll only take half damage.
Alright, then that would be a whopping 5 points.
Alright. 5 points is better than no points. And you know, one of the critters moves in towards Deneen, and I believe that will... Oh, you just used your reaction, right?
I haven't done anything yet.
No, for Jean.
Yes, that was my reaction.
Yeah. So, I believe, doesn't 18 hit you? Jen. Deneen, yes.
No, because I fixed my AC.
So you easily dance out of the way. As does Finneris. He is dancing around, playing his pipes. And he actually has to make a saving throw, though. Which he does easily.
Very stylish, Finneris.
So that brings us to the next person in order.
That's me.
I imagine so.
It's time to attack a random crab. Is there one? I'll attack the one that's engaged with Calf.
Okay. Yeah, you guys are close enough that you can move between them easily.
My owl will help me out on this, and I will cast a booming blade, and then lash out with the daggers. It's 24 to hit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And the crab is surrounded by thunderous energy. 33 damage.
Alright, so huge chunks of its shell kind of just like shatter as you fight with your daggers.
Mm-hmm.
As you strike with pinpoint precision. It's almost like a chisel going to work.
Tink, 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 tink. And she'll then disengage her way around to right behind Cat. No offense, Cat.
Huh.
That's right. Hide behind the person that has lower AC.
That's our plan all along.
I'm trying to get it to move. If it moves, it gets hurt more.
Oh, and you know what? Give me a saving throw.
Any kind in particular?
We'll go charisma.
Oh, charisma. Ooh, I'm charismatic. 14?
A 14.
But I'm lucky.
You are lucky.
I am lucky. How about a 22?
22 is good. You find looking at the shell kind of makes you feel odd and strange and distracted.
Ooh. Yeah, that's not good. At least it was only one save as opposed to 4 at once.
Oh, you know, you would have got the die 4 as well. I don't know if you added that.
No, I didn't.
So you can not use your lucky if you like.
Aw, thank you. Excellent.
Or at least roll the d4 and then decide if you would have wanted to use lucky.
$17?
17? Still using lucky?
No.
No, you're fine.
I guess I got lucky.
You did get lucky. So Kath is up.
Alright, so Kath saw these giant crabs and she just kind of licks her lips. And as they attack, she brings her hammer up and goes, "We're having crab tonight!" And swing away with Pig Pen. He rolled a crit! So, bum. 31. And I'm gonna drop a smite on that.
Nice.
31 plus 69 points of damage.
Nice.
You would.
She loves crab.
Oh yeah. So what happens?
Oh, did she kill it?
Yeah.
So she, with the expertise of someone who has eaten crabs many a time, like, manages to hit its shell at just the point, so, like, it all cracks apart a little bit. And then Arun is going to come storming in to try and gore attack one of the other ones. And he's not blessed, is he? No. So does a 13 probably doesn't hit, right?
A 13 does not hit now.
Alright. So, like, it sidesteps and, like, has its little claws up and is snapping them back at him.
Okay, and now...
Blessed our beastly friends.
Now make a saving throw for you and Arun.
Charisma?
Charisma.
I have no fear.
Famous last words.
Oh, shoot. Well, Arun crit failed it for a total of -1.
Nice.
Kath, however, she should do okay. I'm gonna roll my bless.
I think with Arun all glammed up, his charisma should be better than it was before. He shouldn't have a -1 in charisma. That's just wrong.
I rolled a 17.
Okay, so you are fine. For Arun, give me a die 8, please.
Ooh. 5, sir.
A 5. Okay, so Arun actually just charges at him and kind of gets stopped by the claws. Looks at him and kind of like shakes his head, and then turns and just begins running off to the side. And
What?
does a 17 hit Arun?
That's exactly what you needed.
Okay, so one of the claws lances out for 12 points of damage as he's kind of like running off away from the group.
That crab is lucky we're still in the same round.
So lucky.
Can't you use your sentinel to... Oh, you already used your...
I already used Hellish Rebuke.
Yeah, it's the reaction already got used. Alright, and Kenna in the ethereal plane.
Okay, so I pop in next to Kat. I cast Cure Wounds at level 5, so that's 5d8 plus 4, and then I blink back into the ethereal plane with an 11.
Okay, give me a charisma save on your way out of the plane.
Nice.
27.
You're good. You are fine. Same thing. You blink in and you put your hands on Kath and begin channeling healing energy into her. But as you do, you're kind of looking and making sure these things aren't on top of you. And when you look at the shell, those colors are like moving and swirling, and they're almost hypnotic-like when you look at them.
I don't think Kenna's phased by hypnotic colors.
I do kind of dig it, though. If, like, there's shell bits left when we're done, we should take some of those home with us.
The two of them that are kind of left. One is kind of moving and trying to get to the satyr, and he's kind of hopping around like a rabbit. And
That's not the one I hit, is it?
no.
Yeah.
The one you hit is dead.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, that's the one Kath had smashed. Alright, these dice are retired. So he is hopping around, and at one point he's like standing on the claw as it's trying to eviscerate him. And he continues to taunt and play his pipes. And Kath. Oh, they don't like you. 16 will miss, right? And
Yes.
all right, the next is 20 and above.
think that Finis is playing like action music on his panpipe.
Would he play anything else? So 23 points of damage as the claws grasp and crush your armor into you.
Whew. The bard giveth and the crab taketh away.
Yeah. And the one seems to be getting frustrated with the satyr, and is looking in the direction of you two. So with that, it is Danine's turn.
This crab that's attacking Kath is getting a taste of the same medicine. 21 to hit.
Oh yeah.
So she's gonna attack right on the claw that's attacking, that has grabbed Kath, and just like wrench her dagger into one of the joints and twist it. 36 damage. And then she'll oh, I don't want to leave Kath. I'm gonna anyway, because I really hope this crab will move. So I'm good. Disengage. I'm gonna disengage further away from the crab, like 10 feet away.
Okay, so you do that, and then Kath, you are up.
I'm not gonna wail on this thing that's trying to snap me in half here. Oh, you know what? I only took one attack last time. See, I've been playing low-level characters since we played last. It always throws me off switching back and forth.
Sorry.
So, well, it wasn't just you. It was the other thing. So the first one's a 23 to hit.
Yes.
And that does 18 points of damage.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna smite it. Ooh, it takes another 21 points of damage. Then I'll attack again. 25 to hit.
That'll hit.
For another 21 points of damage. And how many spells have I used already?
So that does it. That. How do you want to finish this one?
Kath just starts describing how she's going to cook them. She's like, we'll pull out some lemons, I've got some spices, we'll heat up some water, and you're going into the dunk tank.
Yeah, I hear rust is just like Old Bay.
That's because it's the same color. It's a little different.
Legit.
Jen, you're a Marylander. You know better.
Oh, you know.
It's the same color. I'm agreeing with that part. Only
Okay.
that part.
Okay.
Give me another charisma saving throw, and Arun can make one as well.
Okay. Ooh, 23 for Kath. And she calls out to Rune and says, hey. Now is not the time to skedaddle on out of here. He only rolls a 9, though.
Aw.
All right, give me another die 8.
Oh. You know what? This is a very unlucky color of die in Roll20. I need to switch it. He rolled a 1.
Aw.
What's this blue nonsense? I'm switching it to an orange. It's much more adventurous color.
It's Rusty for the Beggar King.
Even better. So yeah, he rolled a 1.
Okay, so you can see him off in the distance, and the first thing you notice is you hear that he stopped running, and now he's just standing. He's standing in place, just kind of like bleeding.
Oh no!
Not bleeding, bleating.
Oh, bleaching.
Yeah, sorry.
So
that's
sad,
so
though.
sad.
Although he is bleeding a little bit, but it's not that bad.
Oh, poor giant Auroch beast.
And
hundreds of gold worth of jewelry.
and you know, with that, you hear the clash of steel on shell as Finis, he makes some attacks, but they seem ineffectual as his blade bounces off the Capris. And Kenna, what are you doing?
I am popping back into Kath again. And who wants inspiration? The bardic kind. Yes, Cat. Okay.
Ooh.
That is a D10 still.
I will pocket that.
Seem to blink back into the ethereal plane.
And give me a charisma save on your way out.
Yes, good.
Pesky crap.
22.
Oh, you're good. Feel like that's an easy save for half the party. All right, with that, Deneen is up. Oh no, they're up. That's right. I'm not used to my monsters beating you.
Between the three of us, we're all pretty charismatic people. Thankfully.
Yeah, but both of those guys have charismas they're good save.
Mm.
All right, so they're gonna keep attacking the same people they've been attacking. It makes sense to them. Oh, well, guys might need another Fenris.
No!
Well,
Can I use lucky for him? Can I save him?
I don't know. Can you?
Can you
I
pass
don't
out
think
your
I can.
luck with
I can use it on an enemy, but only when they're attacking me.
Might
I can give him my inspiration.
be all right. Let's see. It's 11, 21.
I should have blessed him and our pets.
He takes 36,
No.
and he looks bloodied, ish at least.
Is the crab that attacked him within striking distance of me?
It's actually just out of range.
Okay.
Probably would be within striking range of Deneen.
Yeah, but I can't do anything. I don't have the feat that Kath does. I want it.
I know. That's why I said it.
Yeah. Later.
Later. All right.
Although it won't be as effective since Kath has it. I'll just have to stick near Kenna.
Yeah. All right. So, one claw and the mandibles on Calf. This thing has your number.
We already killed it. We've killed 2.
Oh yeah, that's right. You have killed
The third
2.
one
I'm sorry.
attacked, Phineas.
I'm sorry.
Phineas.
You're correct. It is your turn.
Penniless.
All right. Well, I'm going.
No, it's not your turn. It's
Okay.
Jen's turn. I'm sorry. I'm all flustered now.
Well, I'm going to go try and help Fenelus. How bad off does he look?
He looks pretty wounded.
The best solution is to kill this crab faster. Let's do that thing. So, Deneen and her owl swoop in here. Ooh, 28 to hit.
Mm-hmm.
For 43 damage.
Ow.
And then, I'm assuming we have to charisma save our way out of this.
Yes, you do.
Ooh, my owl wisdom just gets a 7.
Give me a die 8.
An 8?
Ooh, I like that. I think I like that roll.
No, I'm worried. And then I got a 16 save.
Okay, you're good.
Whew.
And the owl makes an attack on the satyr.
Aw. That's 19 to hit.
That will absolutely hit, but I think the owl does like a point of damage.
1 slashing damage.
Yeah. He's like, ah, my eyes.
And Deneen says, sorry.
It would have been so much better if you did that.
So she, well, at least I already used my sneak attack damage. But she will once again withdraw away from this crab. She's hoping to, like, tempt it into moving.
To luring it away. Makes sense.
Well, that it'll move so that the other half of Booming Blade will hopefully go off, but we'll see.
If it doesn't die right now, which
We'll
it just might die right now
I hope so. Here's hoping.
Because Kath is up.
Alright, Kat says help is on the way. And 24.
Oh yeah, absolutely hits.
Crappy amount of damage. That's 13.
Okay.
And again. Ooh, 26. That's real good there.
That what?
For 17. Is he still up? Do I need to smite?
It is still up.
Not for long. He takes another 34 points of damage.
Oh, you just completely obliterate him.
Yeah, excellent.
Oh no, it probably doesn't. I was thinking it would be cool if my radiant damage cooked him at the same time and killed him. But I don't know if the beggar thing would do that.
Cooked him with holy goodness.
Yeah.
It's a very wholesome meal.
Gives it a nice little piquant flavor.
If we use the evil flower on it, it like purifies.
Spread it.
Crab cakes! Crab cakes!
Ooh.
That's a great idea.
So now that these things are dead, is the effect that Arun is under over?
It is.
Okay. So he comes loping back over, kind of sheepishly. Cat looks at him. Oh, you got bamboozled.
Oh,
Kind of
Fenelus.
hangs his head a little bit.
Fenelus, I'm sorry, my owl attacked you.
Oh.
Wisdom is apologetic.
I'm really amused that owl's name is Wisdom right now. I will go ahead and dispense with a healing.
It wasn't a wisdom save.
That's true. The owl looks sheepish. Arun looks sheepish.
Yeah.
And Fenris is like, oh, it's okay, I understand.
Hold still. You'll be okay. I'm sorry about getting you dragged into this.
She's like, as you're pushing stuff back inside of him.
Yep.
Oh.
Kenna doesn't even flinch at this. She's seen enough viscera at this point.
So, are there shales still? Shales? Are there
Yes.
shales all still colorful and such?
They are, but the colors aren't like moving around the way they were. They seem to like slowly begin to, stop, but they're still, they still have that like, that oil slick look to them.
So they're pretty enough to make jewelry out of and sell to people, is what you're telling me.
They are, but it'd be like moving a hut. The shell.
I don't
have to
need
cut
big
sections.
pieces. I just need like a little chunk about like this size, and they did shatter all over this when hit by piglins.
Yeah, you're definitely able to grab pieces.
Speaking of heavy armor, Kath, maybe we should get you some real armor sometime. Or better stove plates.
I have armor. Tink, tink, tink.
Wearing it's just pretending.
And we could get maybe some barding for Arun. Protect him a little better. I worry about you guys. You guys get the worst of it.
Well,
It used to be Kenna's job somehow, but now it appears to be your job, and I am concerned.
Maybe I can get someone to enchant my stoveplate.
I, for one, am very happy with this new state of arrangement.
Oh, not constantly dying in a pool of your own blood in an alley. Yeah.
Yeah, that was no bueno.
The poison significantly less.
It's only happened a couple times. She's only been run into the Church of the Light a few times. Someone's got to tank it. Yeah, so you guys are able to get quite a bit of the shell if you break it up.
Is the Maybe the shell could be made into armor.
Ooh, isn't it kind of fancy though? But that would be awesome.
It is, but it's also a slain foe that I used with the divine power of the Beggar King to kill.
You know, it's so fancy. You could make this into armor for Arun. He would like sparkles.
Sparkly barding.
Might have to consider that.
Gotta take a few more panels of this. See how that goes.
Arun gets this cow-eyed expression.
It is
Don't
pretty.
say I never cared, Arun.
I actually envision, if it wasn't for the fact that the claws are the size of Kenna, her picking them up and making them do the pincher thing.
Oh no, she stands in the bottom and puts her arm top and just I
We could saw off the tip of the claws and get you a pointed little magician hat out of it. A comical hat.
Oh my god.
That'd be pretty awesome.
We're
I'll take
the red now.
I'll take the tip of the other claw and make it into a new sparkly quiver.
There you go.
So are you going to try and harvest any of the meat?
Oh, absolutely. That's probably good eating right there.
So your background is sailor, right?
Yes.
So make a check with using your proficiency bonus, and I guess in intelligence or wisdom. Yeah, probably wisdom.
Maybe intelligence.
Like nature.
Yeah. I'll let you use intelligence.
4. Oh, good.
You've got bardic inspiration.
Do we all get tonight?
Well, here's the thing. If you let Kath eat it first, she can't be poisoned. She might... She might start to feel it affect her and be like, oh, maybe not this. This isn't good crab.
Maybe.
I suggest avoiding it.
Or she doesn't notice at all.
Oh,
Is Kath immune to poison?
Yeah. Once you're a certain level paladin, you can't be poisoned.
Oh no.
I mean, let me make sure.
I know it's definitely disease.
No, wait a second.
Because I thought we did that wrong in our game.
I'm immune to disease. That's what
Yeah.
it is. That's okay. I've got lay on hands. Assuming it's not a super fast acting poison, I could probably.
But you still do have bardic inspiration if you do wish to use it. It's just going to go away.
All right, I'll do it.
It's a D10.
So that brings my total to 812, sir.
That is better than average. So you're actually able to harvest quite a bit of the meat. So it's just a matter of how much you guys can actually carry between the shell and the meat.
Okay. Oh, so it's not poisonous?
No.
Oh.
Not the parts you grabbed anyway.
Okay. Cat's leave the green gunk. That's no good.
That's crab poop. No one wants to eat that.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Kath is super delighted about this.
No dirty crabs. Yeah, you're going to be able to eat crab for a while.
Oh boy.
So with that, you guys are able to enter the portal and back into your world. And clearly, the seasons have changed.
What year is it?
We don't know.
You would get
Don't spend a lot of time.
You'd guess at least 6 months has passed due to the change in seasons.
Ooh. 6 months, give or take however many years, at least 6 months.
Yeah.
So what's the weather like currently?
I think you guys were heading into winter, so now it's now it's heading into summer.
Man, I miss tavern season.
You totally missed tavern season.
I miss Fane's birthday.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
Possibly all of them, depending on how long this took.
Okay, we're going.
Oh yeah, because we don't realize if it's the season, just the next season.
It's not necessarily the same year.
Yeah, exactly.
I have no idea.
So, question. How old was Monty before you guys went in?
Oh, Lord. I mean, like, he's a pretty old dog. I've had him since I was a little, like, leg. You know, you want to make me cry, do it, Dave. I'm bolstered.
Well, no, it depends. It depends on how old he is. I didn't hear what you said. How many years?
Oh, okay, yeah, he's pretty old. I've had him since I was a quarterling.
A quarterling. So he noticeably ages when you come out on the other side. Like he's got gray hairs and a little bit of a limp in the hindquarters.
Oh no.
Dave, do you remember that brandy I took out of the bottle when we were in Rylar?
Okay, yeah.
I gave it to my dog.
Oh, nice pull.
So the dog drinks it, laps it up, and it requires a little encouraging at first, but then he begins drinking it, and you guys watch as his age just kind of regresses in front of you to the point where he's barely an adult dog at this point.
He's like a gangly old puppy.
Yes.
I proceed to rattle him a little bit and do the shake thing. I'm like basically just a big old kid having fun with my dog.
Was that all of the brandy?
And somebody else had taken a sample as well. I mean, we have the sample that we're going to bring to Sheena. That was just what I had sectioned off for future use, but no regrets. This was right.
Okay.
How much older did he look to you, just for reference? Because he looked a lot older to me.
I mean, yeah, he did, but he's also a dog, and dogs don't live forever.
Any of you guys have knowledge, nature, animal handling?
I have Jack of Trades.
Well, you can absolutely roll that.
No, Zoom, what are you doing? What are you doing? No, okay, stay in the meeting. All right, scrolling up. 21.
Oh, 21?
Very lucky roll.
You feel like he had aged a year or two?
Okay. So, Kenna's gonna be a little bit mean here, and she's going to put on this very grave face, and she's gonna be like, we let's just get into town and deal with it once we get in there.
If the town is even still there, there was a rampaging monster, remember?
Okay, let's go. It's probably going to be okay. And as soon as Zinni walks past her a little bit and Kenna's behind her, she's gonna laugh into her hand and remind herself she's going to hell.
So you guys eventually arrive back at town.
It's still there.
And it is still there. The walls are still there.
It's not like one giant portal to the metaverse.
It is not a giant portal yet.
There's no rampaging monster.
No rampaging monster. But as you do, approach the gates, there's two of the guards are there, and you guys are kind of well known around the town, and they look a little bit like they've seen a ghost when you guys appear. And so one of them speaks up. We didn't think you were coming back.
What day is today? Why, it's Christmas Day.
He tells you the day, and it is about 18 months since you've last were back in town.
Oh, that stings. Oh.
That's still a really long time.
Oh.
We've probably been declared dead and lost the spot.
Oh, that's for an elf.
Well, hopefully Agnetha took care of it while we were gone.
Well, I mean, we've still got Vance around and everything. I'm sure he would have also taken care of things. I mean, I know we had that paperwork on lockdown. Husband's still around. We got people.
And the Larion.
Oh God.
Yeah, I need to go. Check my. Just to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
But
she ditches you guys, and
we'll meet back up tomorrow.
yeah, she ditches you guys and uses her city secrets to book it double speed with bonus dash through the city. So that's like 200 feet around or something.
Yeah, you're there in no time. You notice like a shanty town as you go by though that wasn't there before.
Oh, the refugees.
Well, Kath will be happy.
That is true. You're beautiful, and so you kind of like burst in on the place where your family now lives, and there's Alarian and is that right?
He remarried. Oh hell no. And Fane.
And Fane, and she looks so big now, and
Oh my goodness.
he was standing over as you came through the door, and she was working on something on the table, either drawing or writing. And when she looks up, she looks so much bigger than you remember her, and so much older, and both of them kind of turn and look, and they're kind of stunned for a moment, and they both kind of like begin to weep a little bit and rush over to you.
Oh yeah, Deneen absolutely bursts out crying and says, "I'm so sorry. I didn't know that was gonna happen. I'm so sorry. Oh, I missed you."
And they kind of just like smother you in hugs and kisses, and we didn't think you were coming back this time. It's been so long.
It worked, but I didn't realize time goes differently there. I didn't know. I'm so sorry.
Did you actually tell them you were going to the Feywild?
We've been preparing for a year.
Well, I don't know if you told them.
I was assuming so.
Deneen has been very sketchy on the
like
details in the past.
Not with them.
We were getting worried. We it's been so long. We didn't think you were going to come back this time.
It's only been it's been under a week for us.
That's wow. We're just so happy you're back. I can't believe it.
Fane, I'm so sorry. I will make up for last time and play with you a lot and be your mom again. I'm so sorry.
Well, Mommy, don't leave me again. Don't leave. What if you don't come back this time? For real.
I'm not going back there. It's not going to be like that. Okay?
I didn't have a mommy. What happens if you don't come back? I won't have a mommy.
I've come back every time though. I even came back this time. But it only took that long because of where I had to go. Okay? And I'm only ever going to leave if it's important to save you or save a lot of people. Okay?
I guess so. She's still kind of young and recovers fairly quick from it, but she hugs you a little extra tight, as does your husband.
Well, I can't wait to hear all about everything that you've done since I had to go. I can get to know you again. You can tell me the longest bedtime story. All about what you've been up to, okay?
Well, and your husband turns. He's like, "Well, Vance has kept me pretty busy since he's been running the bathhouse for you while you're gone."
Secondary concern to missing you guys for who knows how long, but that's positive.
And so they begin like going on like everything that's been going on, and your husband like begins trying to like make you a meal and feed you. He's like, I'm surprised you haven't withered away to nothing. You've been gone for so long. You don't take. He basically starts mothering you.
She reiterates that for me it's only been a week. I was just here a week ago. I'm okay.
But for us, it's been
I know.
longer.
It's the important thing is we defeated the hags. Everyone is safe from them now, and I learned some important information. And here she gets a little circumspect since Fane is right here about your bow. I learned a few things that hopefully will help us with that.
Oh.
Have you heard anything from your parents?
I haven't. After the destruction of the city, I just assumed they moved on to Drellic, to where the bulk of their holdings are.
Probably for the best. Have there been any other stories about gigantic monsters killing cities?
We haven't heard any. I mean, there's been rumors that there's a new mountain range to the south of the city, but
of this city or of Rylar?
Of Rylar.
Okay.
But I'm not sure what happened. All the refugees that were going to came here. I don't know if you've seen, but they've kind of put down roots, and it used to just be all tents, and now they've kind of like built houses and huts out of whatever they could find. Some of the citizens of Gryphongaffe have helped them restart, but I mean, there's more crime here than there was before. And
yeah, but it's still nicer than anywhere they would have lived in Rylar.
It is. Some of them are just desperate. It's been hard.
I get that. I've been there.
But it hasn't been so bad for us. I mean, we came from Rylar, so we know how to handle ourselves. It's been harder for the folks of Gryphongaffe than anything. They're not used to certain elements.
Yeah, I guess not. I'll have to ask around and see if anybody I used to know is here. But that's not important right now. And so she will spend more time just talking to Fane and reassuring her and shooting Ilarian apologetic looks.
Mommy, do you have more stories?
I do. I can draw you pictures of all the beautiful things that we saw and all the amazing things that happened. And there were some super bad monsters, and we stopped them, and they're not going to hurt anybody anymore.
Well, that's good. I hope they didn't follow, and none of them followed you back here.
No, we wouldn't bring any monsters back here, honey.
So with that, let's pan to Kath and Kenna.
And where the hell is Finnelis right now? Oh no.
Also important facts.
The monster we did bring back with us.
Yeah. Relative. It's all relative.
Kenna, you want to take it?
Oh yeah, I'm hurrying home. And Kath is welcome to come along with me if she so desires, but I imagine she's got her own people to check in with.
Yeah, Kath hopped on a room and took off running a different direction.
Oh yeah, so like I've got this moment in my head where we're all standing like in the tri alley, and then suddenly we all realize that we've got a jet, and like we just bolt into different directions.
It's like when you break, when you're playing pool and you break for the first time and all the balls go.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
So Deneen bolts, Kath bolts. Finneris is kind of looking around and shrugs his shoulders, and he's going to go with Kenna. Are you walking beside Monty, or are you riding him?
Oh, I'm probably riding him.
At this point,
it's not going to make me too much taller, but I'll be like more closer to eye level with my companion.
So it's a little bit like riding a bucking bronco at this point, or a bull at a rodeo, because he's so excited about being back here. So he's kind of reverted to some of his puppy tendencies, and he's not quite as well trained as he used to be.
I'm not even complaining. I'm probably laughing about it. Do I need to make a dexter to stay in the saddle? Because I will.
No, you don't have to. You can, and actually, you can increase all of his physical stats by 1.
Awesome.
So, when you go back to Halflington, the Halfling ghetto of Gryphongaffe, it is quite built up since the last time you've been here. They've been industrious, they've been busy, and there's about 3 times as many Halflings as there were roaming around. You see a lot of new faces that you haven't seen before.
I did not leave you guys alone this long. And I'm like walking through looking at... Oh, you're new. I don't remember that building being there.
Yeah, you know, your nieces and nephews, when you finally encounter them, you hardly recognize them. They just look so much older now.
Yeah. I will hug every last one of them. I will probably cry a little bit. I'm like, oh my god, you got so big. Have you been practicing your sword fighting? You remember the goat, right? Like, just a string of things.
Oh, you haven't given us a lesson in so long. We didn't think you were coming back. Like, some of them are laughing, some of them are crying. There's just a mix of emotions, and you know, word starts getting out, and the halflings, you know, start coming out of the woodwork. And you know, eventually one wizened and older halfling comes hobbling over, and it's clearly Lala Midge, but you know, she looks a bit aged.
Oh gosh, I put that woman through so much stress. I'm gonna go over and hug her and apologize for worrying her, because I know I did. I always do.
Yeah, you know, as you do that, like, her cane like flashes out and hits the inside of each arm, and then smacks you across the thighs, and then she like hobbles and almost like falls into your arms as she begins hugging you.
I hug her back. I'm like, I'm so sorry, Midge. I know. It's been a while. We didn't mean to be gone that long. Time flows kind of weird on the plains, apparently.
So,
yes.
As you examine her, you can see that she looks like, you know, how sometimes older people, when it's like, almost like you flip a switch and they just age a little bit faster. So it looks a little bit like that, and then also a little bit like she's been aged by worry.
Oh yeah.
As well. But you know, when you look, you can still see that she still has that keenness in her eyes and her wits. So you know, after that, they start going over everything that's happened since you've been gone, and how other halflings have kind of influxed into their settlement. Some of them actually came from Ryler, and instead of going over to the shanty town and with the refugees, they actually found their way over here. And others just came because they heard about the mayor that was a halfling in his town, kind of similar to what the Ambiway did, and they've kind of like started building up here. So now there is like a little like halfling village inside of Gryphongaffe.
That's good. I'm gonna make a mental like on who's new and who to catch up with later. Catch up with family first and meet new people way late is the game plan.
Okay, so you definitely able.
And they introduced them all to Fenless.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing yeah, you're kind of a little laggy, and that's the other thing when you know, once you get over the initial shock of you being back, they're like, oh, and what is this? But he instantly goes into charmer mode, and he now has about 20-30 new best friends, and again there's a gaggle of female halflings following him around, and a couple males as well that seem a bit smitten.
I am entirely too amused by this.
That's his thing.
It is his thing. So also, again, like one of your nieces and your nephews kind of reiterate about you haven't given them lessons in a long time.
All right, tomorrow. Everybody needs a good night's sleep tonight, and tomorrow we will pick back up.
So with that, we will bounce to Kath.
So Kath goes tearing off towards the post office, where she'd arranged for a kind of a post office box to collect her various mails, and she will go and look through any letters that are there waiting for her, and immediately start writing one back.
Okay, so the post office is actually the general store, and they do offer like a carrier pigeon service. And and they they have specially trained homing pigeons, and there's a stack of letters. I don't know whatever the frequency was that you and your wife would kind of write. It's kind of maintained, and as you kind of like are going through the letters, like with each one, you can tell like they seem to be giving up. Your wife seems to be giving up a little bit.
And you can tell that the tone is getting angrier and angrier. Kath just like kind of shrinks because she knows that she's in so much trouble. But yeah, okay. But was it ever get to a point where I was like, this is the last letter?
No, but you feel like it's really close. Well, you would know your wife better than I do.
Okay. All right.
How optimistic is she? You guys like came back from the... Well, I don't want to give away your story.
This is true. I think she's probably not in a good spot, but I don't think that she'd hit despondent after a year and a half. So, but Kath is also relieved that they're still coming, because that means that at least she knows that nothing happened to Azucena in the meantime. Because if the letters are coming on the regular, then it's not like she got back and they just suddenly stopped and, then she was freaking out about, well, what happened to her when I was gone, kind of a thing.
So, in short order, you're able to kind of catch up on where your wife's been and what she's been up to and her adventures out at sea.
Okay. And yet she immediately writes a letter back and gets that sent out, and then we'll head back to the bathhouse to harangue Vance and make sure that he's doing everything that he's supposed to her standards, and check in on the bronze ladies.
Okay, but before you go, there is something of note and interest that has kind of changed at the general store. Yes. You're used to the carrier pigeons that they use, but when you have a message, he pulls out this brass pigeon and kind of like rolls up your message and begins feeding it to it.
Where did you get this?
Well, we about a year ago we stopped using the other pigeons. These are far more reliable and durable.
Where did you get them?
The Clockwork Kingdom. They make them out of there.
Who's going back and forth?
Well, many of the Clockwork people have come here now.
Like who? Are they related to Bucket? What are their roles? What are their names? How many are there? Where are they staying? Do they have shops? Have they opened school here? What else is going on?
He's kind of like Well, there is that one school, Relian opened, but has nothing to do with the Clockwork people. But a bunch of them come and go from here, and yes, there is a couple shops that have opened, and they like to hang out at the library. I don't know, there's Bucket, there's Sprocket, Monocle. There's a lot of them. I don't know all of them.
Why? She just and instead of going to she starts like going towards the library, and she's like, "No, check on the business first." And then kind of slows, and then changes her course and heads to the bathhouse.
So responsible.
Well, she knows that you guys are probably going to be spending at least a day or two directly with your family, so.
Well, when
yours is here.
when you go into the entryway of the bathhouse, you're greeted by a young woman and a young man. They're both humans, probably in their late teens, early 20s, and you've never seen them before. They greet you. They seem very articulate and immaculately dressed. Just plain robes. And can we help you? And they kind of look at you a little askance too, like, because you came in from the road.
Mm-hmm.
And we can help you. We do have extra robes, and we have a place where you can clean up first.
She looks at them, and she blinks a little bit. Did Vance train you?
First they're looking at each other and looking at you. Yes, he did. He hired us and trained us, 6 months ago.
Did he describe what the owners look like in case they were to return and drop in?
Yeah, he talked about them all the time, and he said the very elegant ladies and well-to-do and smart and educated and pretty and super brave and adventurers, and they kind of start to trail off. Maybe one of them was a halfling, an elf, and a tiefling? Oh! You wouldn't be Kath. But they say your full name.
Yeah, Eriton Perrycath. You're at my service. I would like to know where Vance is, please.
He's probably in the office. He's usually, at this time of day, he's usually in the office working the numbers.
Oh, great. Well, you did a lovely job booking me. Thank you. I appreciate your demeanor. I will be making my way to him. And just ignore any screaming, crashing, sounds of violence, things like that.
Are you sure you wouldn't like to freshen up first? And they kind of ask sheepishly. And they're watching, like, Pigpen is, like, slung over your shoulder, and they're watching the rust kind of, like, fall off.
And the fact that I have a giant Auroch walking behind me through the bathhouse. I believe I'm fairly aware of what my needs and desires are. Thank you very much.
As you wish, lady. And I guess you know where the office is.
I know where the office is. Your office.
And you might hear some whispering as you leave.
So yeah, she rolls on back there, and she turns the handle like really quietly to the door so that she can snap it open and hopefully scare the piss out of Vance, because she loves tormenting.
Okay. So give me an intimidate check.
Oh boy. Oh boy. That would be a 23, sir.
He jumps out of his seat. The chair goes flying back. Papers go into the air, flying everywhere. The inkwell falls over and starts splashing ink, and he looks like he's seen a ghost.
Kath uses thaumaturgy to make like her eyes glow and the candles in the office flicker and dim, things like that. And the ground starts trembling a little bit, and she makes her voice boom. She gives his full name, and she's like, "You have betrayed our trust."
He looks exactly like he did when you caught him in the room.
Prepare to face your death.
Completely mortified.
Vance Nelid Poladrin Carr.
But you've been gone. We didn't think. We took care of everything. We made it. We're making money.
And then, so she tells Arun to head on back to, I'm sure they've got some kind of, like, stable area close by or whatever, so he goes to hang out. And then she shuts the door and sits down and calms down. And she's like, yes, everything, you know, on my initial inspection seems to be working well. You have very nice people at the door. How are you?
And he starts to calm down, and he's like gathering up the stuff. And he takes a moment to kind of like get himself together. Has everyone come back?
Yes, everyone has come back.
Oh, I'm so glad. You met the twins.
Oh, they're twins. All right. Yes, I did.
Yes, they were a good find. They're hard workers. They do a good job.
They have very good deportment. Yes.
And he begins like organizing the papers and like pushing them towards you because he knows that of the three of you were the one that actually, you know, mentioned things like a business plan and numbers.
Look. No, he doesn't have to stay there the whole night, but she's going to be going through all of the finances and things like that. And for whenever he's around, like if everything does look good, she'll be honest in her praise and said, "Oh, you know, that was a smart decision," or, you know, "Good job finding a new supplier for this," kind of a thing. Interspersed with scaring him and harassing him.
So it does turn out that between Sparks McGee and the mage from the library that you guys have been working with, whose name just kind of eludes me at the moment. Jurissa, that's it. They've actually put together a different heating system that is a little bit more mundane, but a little bit more advanced. And you also see that they had actually contracted some of the people from the Clockwork Kingdom to assist in it.
Kath actually says that when she gets to that point in the middle. She goes, "Ooh," and okay, and she'll ask how the bronze ladies are doing, and you know.
Well, they're really doing good. You know, all of them speak a little bit of Common now.
Oh, good.
And you know, they've all been trained up real well and nice, and they're all masseuses now essentially.
Okay.
And they're very much in demand. Those hot hands of theirs are magic. And at some point when he's there, he recommends that you check them out.
Okay. And so she's like, "So, are you married yet?"
I'm a little young for that, don't you think?
I don't know. So I take that means no?
I'm not even 200 yet.
You're still not answering the question.
I am not married.
Huh. Noted. Matchmaker.
You're not gonna try and make me get married, are you?
You don't need to worry about it just yet.
Kath, you scare me.
And she just gives him her super evil tiefling grin and makes her eyes glow a little bit at the same time. She's like, "That's good." Later, I'll re-interview all of the staff with Zone of Truth up to make sure that no one's embezzling or stealing from us. And she absolutely does do that.
Well, when you do that, it turns out that Vance has actually done a really good job with it. He's got a good eye for detail and knows numbers.
Nice. She'll arrange for him to have like a really sweet bonus and kind of a thank you package then for handling everything so well while they were gone.
I'll have to investigate the rules for operating a business again and see how much you guys have made over the past 18 months.
All right, cool. Nice.
So, going back to Deneen.
So Deneen definitely spends the evening like explaining her whole adventure and using minor illusion over and over again to illustrate, like just paintings in the air to show. And of course, nothing is anywhere near as scary as it actually was. It's all about us being heroic and saving people and helping. And then when Fane talks about her year, Janine tries to illustrate that to try and get a sense of what that looks like, using minor illusion again.
So you give
that's her whole evening.
the fairy tale version, not the grim fairy tale version.
Yeah, whenever she's being like obfuscating, she sort of gives Alarian a look, like as if to say, "Yeah, I'll tell you more about it later, honey." But yeah, pretty much. And she does admit that things were scary, but that they were still brave because they were doing the right thing.
Well, just glad you're back, and you do end up spending extra time telling Fane stories, or at least she tries to get you to. You have a really difficult time getting her to go down for the evening, and she's also much older now as well. So,
and this magic thing is new, and oh yeah, there's lots of things.
And Fane, they're telling you hear regale with stories how Fane's been kind of stepping up and helping around the place with a lot of the domestic stuff while Illyrian's out working. So it makes her seem even more grown up when you hear how she was taking to a lot of the domestic chores and stuff.
See, this is extra hard on Janine because she was determined, since she herself didn't really have any kind of proper childhood, she was like determined that Fane would. And yet she's super proud that Fane is like all helpful and wonderful.
Well, and she does also talk about, she's met a lot of the halfling friends. She's got a lot of halfling friends.
That's great.
From Halflington, and as well as some others, and she met people that have come in from Rylor, so there was some kinship there, and then she's got like a ton of sad stories that kind of like came out of Rylor.
Yeah, but at least the people that are here are the lucky ones, because they got to come here, and this is a wonderful place.
So yeah, there's a lot of that. So is there anything in particular you want to do?
Not right now. I mean, I would like some private time with my husband, if you don't mind, Dave.
Yeah, we'll fade the black on that.
Yeah. You understand. It's been a while.
The lantern lights go out eventually. Where's that silence spell when you need it?
I can draw a curtain with a minor illusion.
There you go. You need Kenna with her silence spell.
Gonna do some thaumaturgy mood music, maybe. It'll work.
It'll work for sure. So
little earthquakes.
Don't need thaumaturgy for that. No. So Megan, what do you do this evening, or do you want to go to the next day?
Oh. Okay. So in true halfling oral tradition, I exaggerate the hell out of the entire story of what happened while we were gone.
Glorious.
Fenris jumps right in with you and starts once he figures out what you're doing, which takes off like 3 seconds, and helps you to. It almost becomes like a contest when you start.
Oh, it always does. It always does around the halfling campfire. One of them starts it, and then it just starts going around. But like he was actually there, so that's what we're doing. And like, I'm just blowing everything way out of proportion, and that is what I spend the evening doing, like filling my family in on wind and just way grandiose about it.
Although there is one moment when you're kind of like settling in and meeting up with everyone that you haven't seen in a long time, when a troll kind of like comes around one of the corners to greet you. And Fenris draws a rapier, and you don't even know where it came from.
Well, okay, hold on. Let's not get stabby. This troll, he's cool.
Wait, that's not a troll, that's an ogre.
His name is Troll.
Why do you have an ogre named Troll, and what is he doing here?
His name was always Troll, and then Agnetha took him prisoner, and then he was given over to Lalamage for community service. I think that was supposed to be over with by now. I guess he's just still around because we like him.
Yeah, Troll stay. Nowhere's to go. Lila Midge said I can stay as long as I help. She does.
Well, that's awesome, because I think I would have missed you, big guy.
She hardly ever even hits me with her cane anymore.
Oh, do you kind of miss it? I kind of miss it.
No, Lala Midge is scary.
Oh, she is riddling in the best ways. Troll, this is Finnelis. As I said, this is Troll.
Hi, Finnelis. Hey! Oh, I haven't seen Kenna in so long. Troll has so much trouble sleeping when Kenna's not around. Uh-oh.
There goes the laptop.
There might have been a real earthquake there.
I didn't mean to
I live, sorry.
It's okay.
That was my dog.
So Troll begins alluding at, basically he hasn't got, he's used to getting high with Kenna.
Yeah, no, alright, okay, cool. I'll just pack a bowl and go get high with Troll and Finnelis after we're done telling stories. Why not?
And so Finnelis is like, do you think this is a good idea?
Oh, it's a fantastic idea. See in a minute.
Is it the Feywild stuff?
Yes.
Oh boy.
But yeah, in that case, before you know it, Troll is like he's like a cat on catnip. He just starts acting goofy.
I point out how low his thumb is on his hand compared to the rest of, so that he can sit there and like toy with that for about an hour.
Yeah, that will keep him busy for quite some time. The next morning, you're awoken by your nieces and your nephews, the ones you began training in swordplay.
Oh right, I promised I'd do that. I slightly regret past me's decisions, but that is present me's problem now, so I go to train them in swordplay.
When you pull out Last Breath to kind of like start running them through their paces, you notice something you didn't see before. There is 3 runes etched in just above the crossbar of the
that's new.
of the blade, and they are in a there's a green, red, and yellow rune, one on top of the other.
Okay. So, do I recognize the language at all?
You do not recognize the language of the marks, but the colors are kind of reminiscent of the ogress that you fought, each of the sets of eyes.
Oh, good. Okay, I'm gonna take an etching of that and, Sorry.
It sounds like someone didn't like that idea at all.
No, but I'm gonna do it anyway, and go through the motions with a normal sword just in case, because I'm gonna need to go visit Jarissa.
Okay.
You could check out Sheena too.
That as well, yes, absolutely, but I want to get you. So, pass going to cats, but I can use you guys.
Kath, what are you doing on the next day?
I am going to head to the library and check in with Bucket and see what's what about all these new things coming from the Clockwork Kingdom and people making gadgets with magical uses. They've had a year and a half to advance without me. She's a little ticked off about that.
Why didn't they wait?
Not that they didn't wait, but that she missed out on the fun.
So when you go find them, they're kind of in their customary spots, and some things don't seem to change very much. But when you come in, Drissa looks up. See, Bucket, I told you they weren't dead.
Cat goes like, and when we do die, we don't stay dead.
Well, that would be a neat trick. So, you've been gone quite some time. I'm sure you have a lot of stories and adventures to tell.
Not as many as you would think. We were in the Feywild, so for us it was only a few days.
That makes more sense. The other two seem to have put down some deep roots here. I didn't really think they would be gone so long.
Yeah, so we just got back in last night, and they're off with their families. I checked in a couple places, but I was down at the general store, and they had these fancy pigeons, and apparently that led to a discussion about all the stuff that's coming over from the Clockwork Kingdom.
Well, yeah, some of those the Clockwork folks have made their way through the portal and have come here, and they've kind of been integrating themselves into Gryphongaffe.
Interesting. Is it just kind of a little bit of a migration, or is there some kind of like organized reason behind it?
I think. Well, Bucket, you can answer this. Well, we've been cloistered away in the other place for a long time without any contact outside of the kingdom itself. Matter of fact, the kingdom before the portal opened had been shut down, and everyone had been kind of frozen in time. So really, there's nothing else going on in that other place. It's kind of sealed off in a pocket dimension. And
how interesting. Well, I'm glad that folks seem to be settling in Gryphongaffe and making their way here. Then.
Well, it's kind of a combination of people making their way here and just folks coming and going. With with the convenience of the portal, it really doesn't. The travel time isn't very much, and so for us, it's just a short jaunt back and forth. And there's so much interesting things going on here.
Like what?
Well, everything. There's nothing happens at the Clockwork Kingdom. It's it's almost everything is a routine here. You people are so chaotic and unpredictable. I mean, you do lay about a lot, but other than that, there's so much more going on, and you never know what someone's routine is going to be like.
Interesting. So, are there are there more tinkerers in town now? Like, is the trade building up? Is there maybe talk about starting a guild here in Gryphongaffe? Maybe
a guild? I don't think we've really thought about that. We don't really have guilds. Everyone just has their job and they do it and get it done. So now we've been kind of coming here almost like a holiday. That's what you would call it. It's like a holiday when we come here.
But if some of you folks are settling here, I mean, just think about how interesting a guild could be. People could swap ideas and cross-train and maximize efficiencies. And there's so many opportunities if people were to coordinate.
That is an interesting concept. So, would you show us how to form this guild?
I never thought that you'd ask, but I'd be delighted.
And what is the purpose of the guild? What shall we do? Well, we're going to share ideas. Well, that'll be fun.
Yeah, the purpose of the guild is to advance knowledge and increase awareness about capabilities and encourage new invention with thoughtful design.
That sounds a little bit like that gentleman Sparks McGee talks about doing.
Yes, but better.
Oh, better. He did mention that you two didn't get along so great. He said you kept yelling at him.
Well, he yelled back.
He didn't say that. He didn't mention that part.
Oh, he dished out as good as he got. All right. Yes, I might have thrown some things. Yes, he tried to hit me with the hammer once. But it's all part of the exchange of ideas.
He also said you have a terrible accent, tiefling accent, when you speak Gnomish. Now, and then Jarissa kind of like, Bucket, you're just gossiping now. I'm not gossiping. I'm just telling her about what we talked about. That's gossiping. See, look, clearly you've agitated this young lady.
Her tail is like flicking behind her the way that a cat's tail flicks when they're ticked off. I do not have a accent. I speak perfect Port Gnomish.
And
he's jealous.
Jarissa chimes in. He's like, "Please forgive Bucket. He doesn't understand certain social norms."
No, it's fine. I'm glad to have this information, and I feel that if people share things, that it should just be expected that they be shared again, because we all have open and honest friendships and working relationships like that. So yes, it's good to know.
Jarissa gives a look, a knowing look, and he may look to the heavens and make a small sign as he does such.
Oh, but thank you, by the way, for working with Sparks to come up with a little more reliable method for heating the bathhouse. That was great. And she gets into the details of the aspects of his design that she liked quite a bit, and what she admired about the problems that it solved and things like that, and gets into a technical discussion of it.
Yeah, and he gets into a discussion of all the things that they had to throw away and scrap and not use.
And she kind of nods knowingly.
And you do hear a couple stories about some explosions, and well, mishaps, minor mishaps. It would have been worse too, but I've been staying here at the library for quite some time, and I'm just used to Sheena blowing things up all the time, so it hardly bothered me at all.
You should come to the bathhouse not for work. You should come for a massage and just decompress a little bit. Relax somewhat.
He balls up his hand into a fist and clang, clang, clang. I don't know how well that's going to work.
Oh, I thought that was Jarissa speaking, not Bucket.
No, that was Bucket.
Oh, okay.
But Jarissa, no, I have been there. The brass ladies are amazing. They're not, and they seem to really like it when I come, because most of the people here don't speak Primordial. So I've picked up a bit more after having gone to the bathhouse and wanting to talk to them, and I like expanding my own repertoire. You understand? I know.
Well, sure.
You're always learning.
They Primordial too, for the exact same reason.
So
they're
it's
pretty good tutors.
So all in all, the town has been abuzz with all the goings on since you've left. With all the refugees, and they've built up quite a small settlement here. They've been adapting. Crime's going up a little bit, so Harak is a little extra crotchety and busy. But all in all, we seem to be moving forward and getting along. Past the tragedy.
That's good. And any other strange portals open up, or any portals at all come into existence?
Not recently.
Not within the last year and a half?
The last one was the Clockwork Kingdom that I know of.
Okay. Oh, I should probably tell you, talking about portals, that when we were in the Feywild, they mentioned that this plane had been closed off for a while, and they were interested in reopening access to it, and we might have facilitated that a little bit. So, heads up.
Kind of like you say that, and he goes over to one of the walls and pulls down like these hangings, and there's like there's a one large circle and then a bunch of like smaller circles, and there's lines all over the place. And he's like, I have some theories.
Ooh.
I've been looking into this, and I found some stuff, and they're right. It has been closed off. I understand there used to be a time when you could cross the boundaries, and apparently we're going back to that somehow.
Do you know why it shifted in the first place and why it's shifting back?
I have some theories that I've been working on, but I'm not sure. It would take an immense power of a magnitude of beyond mortal magic to close off Ganya, this place, from the other planes.
So, but that thing that destroyed Ryler, though. I mean, what if that wasn't from this plane, but that was from another plane, and it coming into this plane is what started the portal's weakening? Is that a possibility that entered into your research at any point?
Well, I feel like I've been studying the chaos storms over the past few years, and they seem to be accelerating, especially ever since the portals of the Dragonborn Kingdom opened. And I think it's all connected.
Ooh, that's very interesting. And do we remind me? Did the Dragonborn open those portals, or did they spontaneously open, or did we open them?
Oh, right. So, during my research, what I discovered was that there was a phenomena. It was this curtain of chaotic energy that was kind of just hanging in the air, and we said some folks from the library to investigate. And during that investigation, a couple Dragonborn just fell out of it.
Oh, interesting. I think the portal to Draconia was spontaneous, but it was kind of like the harbinger of an overarching change to the access between the planes.
Yeah, well, in addition to that, after the Dragonborn, they wanted to go home, or at least find out how to get back to home. Falcor, who is the ambassador to the Dragon Emperor realm, is been staying here at the city. Well, he had worked with Relian from the school, as well as some of the arcanists at the library here, and they were able to open and maintain the portal that now kind of breaches that realm to this one.
Interesting. Do we have and she looks at his map with all of the lines and the circles and things like that. So, do you have any sense of what portal might appear next?
I don't like the even the clockwork one. I don't know if you'd even believe that story if I told it to you.
I believe it.
Well, there was Relian. You've probably seen him around because he looks like a cross between a half-elf and a goblin. He looks a little freakish, and so he's very noticeable, and has spent a lot of time in the library. He was captured and taken to another realm. Again, through a book, and his companions had to rescue him from a city of goblins and their king. And I'm a little sketchy on this. I don't know if I believe all this, but they say they're trying to turn him into one of their kind. And it was in that place that they learned how to open the portal to to the Clockwork Kingdom. And in his impetuousness, he kind of just did it in his study, his room. And that is why we have a portal in the center of the library where, had it been thought out a little bit better, maybe they would have put it someplace else. And so several of the people that said going through the portals, for the first time when they were first opened, they heard a strange ethereal musical chiming sound. And I'm not sure what the connection is, and it's strange that they would hear it going from these different places.
Huh. So Kath makes a mental note that, because she hears music and thinks Bard, which thinks Kenna, and thinks that maybe Kenna might have some insight as to what makes ethereal chiming music. And so yeah, we'll have to bring this up later. And she'll get everyone, so she's going to repeat all of this to get everyone caught up on what she's learned whenever they surface from their family stuff.
Okay. Do you guys have any plans for meeting up, or are you guys going to go off and do your own thing for a while?
Well, I'm probably going to meet up with Kat in Jarissa's office because I still need to think.
She did say she was heading to the library.
So, my guess is, with you getting up and doing swordplay with the nieces and nephews, you're going to probably kind of like come in towards the tail end of this.
Kenna! I was just thinking of you!
Yes.
And she rapidly gets you caught up on everything he's said so far.
So,
wow, that's a lot. Hold on. I get my notebook out and I start writing notes as you're telling me.
so you guys go into that mode for a little while, and also when you get caught up, then one of the things that also gets brought up is the fact that they do mention Sheena and how she's kind of changed.
Oh yeah, she's definitely on my list of people to speak to as well. Changed in what way?
She seems more here than she did before, and also a little sad.
Oh. Okay. I suppose we'll find out why in due time.
Has the frequency or the severity of the kabooms from her corner of the library lessened at all?
They have.
Oh, that simply won't do.
Her experiments, they still continue on, but they seem less reckless than before.
No.
We'll have to see how
conservative?
it is before we can...
Conservative, perhaps? You know, before she was completely fearless in her academia. Maybe a little bit too much?
You're probably not wrong. I'm remembering the Trogma dog.
Mistakes were made.
Troglodyte?
Oh, okay. So back when they were turning people into troglodytes, she was trying to work on a cure for troglodytism, and she turned her dog into a troglodyte and cured him.
That's one way
He's
to
a
say
really
it.
cute. He's a really cute dog.
Okay.
Doesn't hurt or anything.
Okay. So you're using that as an example of, like, her high-spiritedness, then? And not to why she would be sad.
Yes?
I thought she was sad because she lost a troglodyte.
No. The troglodyte is an example of her maybe taking things a little too far.
Okay.
If only I were there, I would point out that this makes Sparks look conservative. Sheena makes Sparks look conservative.
In all fairness, it did not stay a troglodyte.
It got better.
I got better.
So you guys, you're all caught up, and I guess you're both kind of caught up on what they've been working on, what they've been doing, the influx from the Clockwork Kingdom. What is it you guys want to do?
So, Janine's gonna, after she finally pries herself away, just temporarily, just to sort of refamiliarize herself with the current state of the town. And since they mentioned that the crime rate has gone up, and a lot of these people are from Ryler, she's going to be looking for any, like, familiar old gang signs in Thieves' Camp, in graffiti, and whatever other subtle ways that people mark territory. She's curious who's here. She's wondering if Cyroon is here. She wants to sort of get a sense of this new Gryphongaffe in that regard, and pick up, like, some presents for Fane or something along those lines.
So you do find signs for 3 different gangs, and one of them is Cyroon's gang, but you don't find any sign of Cyroon. And if you poke around a little bit, what you discover is some of, like, the lower level bosses have kind of ended up here, but most of them went to Drellic or larger cities where there was more going on. And also,
Okay.
this place also has a little bit of more of a reputation for running a tighter ship, so they probably went for easier pickings elsewhere.
So maybe Drellic.
More than likely, it's a major city in the seat of the kingdom, so there's a lot more going on there.
She'll just kind of make note of all this and see if how much she recalls about, like, their typical MO and the kind of scams they run, and anything she might want to warn her buddies about.
So on the plus side too, like you probably actually, even if only by reputation, you recognize some of them, and they're not nearly as clever or as vicious as some of the other gang members that could have ended up here.
So probably the biggest movers and shakers went to bigger cities.
It's definitely what you're thinking.
Okay, good. Perfect.
So I think right about there is where we'll wrap up with you guys kind of meeting back up, and you guys can figure out what you want to do next time. And also, if you guys want to take some time off to kind of, like, reacquaint yourself with the town and family and establish what's going on with the bathhouse.
I wonder if Kath's wife's ship will be back in this port anytime soon.
That's a good question. She might be wondering that as well. All of which are things we can figure out next time. So I want to thank you guys for playing and everyone for watching along, and we'll be back next week. So until next time, stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.